Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Thorpe Talks. Today's episode is called How to Hear, and it's going to be all about music. Music is one of my favorite things in this world. It's simply incredible. I struggle with there being too much to say at times, so I'll just get straight on track. We have some nice quotes about music. The philosopher Nietzsche, famous author as well, German guy, he has a nice quote that states, "Without music, life would be a mistake." I like that. Music is something that is natural for all humans. All different cultures across the world have their own unique music as well as their own instruments, their own songs and genres. And so music is something that's a universal language. You don't need to be from another culture to hear music and feel something from it. So it's quite a special thing, very dear to me. I want to show you a song, and given that I'm showing you a song, the idea is that it won't be something that you already know. There wouldn't be much point in that. So we're going to jump in and take a look. Here we go. Hey, we're jumping in right now. What are we watching here? What are we watching? What is this? Who are these people? And what is happening? If you're like me, watching for the first time, I'm still trying to figure out if they're really playing this or not. Let me show you. So, these guys are called Polyphia, and it's four guys. This is what they do. That's so cool. Now, if you're like me, you're still trying to figure out if they're actually playing this or not. So I haven't answered anything yet. It looks like they're playing it, but the guitars are not even plugged in. So, yes, this is not the recording of the song, but for their video clips, they have themselves with their guitars not plugged in, and they play to the audio of the song. So the audio is not from them right now, but they can play this music. They play this music live. Here, I'll show you. Okay, so now you believe me. They are playing this. This guy is Tim Henson. He's the lead man for Polyphia, and he's had a guitar in his hands since, you can probably guess, like 5 years old or something like that. Uh, Very talented guy. It's interesting. You can look him up, Tim Henson, and the way that he makes his music is very interesting. He does use programs and algorithms sometimes in music software, and then he figures out how to do that on the guitar. So they're quite technical and mathematical. Now, that's great and all, but what is the song that we were listening to before? Okay, so just coming back to the song, what is it called? It's called Ego Death. Okay. Their songs don't have lyrics. Some people don't think it's a song if nobody's singing, but I don't think that way. A song is a piece of music. That's fine. So this is called Ego Death. So what is their music about? What is ego death? It's a really good question. So it's basically, ego death is essentially part of this is a lot of editing required. So ego death is a phenomenon. It's something to do with your mind, part of psychology, where you let go of your sense of self. So ego death is basically losing your sense of self. Yes, I know. What does that even mean? Uh, Seeing as I like Latin, I'll just use a little bit of Latin here. Ego, originally, is the word for I. I. Not I, but I, as in me. Ego, right? It's just the first person pronoun. Ego, I. And the word was used in psychology to express the conscious part of the mind. So when I say I, that is the conscious part of my brain that knows what's going on and can speak to people. And my personality, my name, I attach all of that to this idea of I. So ego death, it doesn't mean that I die, but it means that my feeling of who I am, that might die temporarily, usually. And that sounds like something very scary, but it's actually something quite transcendent, and it's a goal for practitioners of meditation. Ego death is, while it can be scary and may have a negative sense about it, it's typically a very positive experience that is liberating, it's freeing, and it can involve people feeling more attached to the world as a whole, and can help you step outside of yourself every now and then. Okay, ego death. The trouble that I had expressing this with words was extreme. Imagine making music for a song called Ego Death. Okay, that's what this is. Let's see what happens. I don't want to interrupt you anymore. Man, this is a super weird guitar solo. What is he doing? It sounds really out of time. It doesn't make me feel good. It makes me feel weird. Listen to that. He was just playing the most amazing thing. Super weird. I hope you see what I mean when I say it's super weird. And you have to understand that he's not failing at anything. Everything that this guy is playing here, everything offbeat, like if you try to nod your head, you can't predict what he's going to do. But everything is done with intention here to create a certain feeling, to create a certain vibe. And to me, the feeling is itself like failure. And it's so withheld for a guitar solo. It's so withheld. It's like holding back, holding back. And maybe he's being held back. What this part makes me think about is a cage, really. I feel like his guitar and his music is in a cage. I'm going to play it one more time and I'm going to let it play. See what happens. and the video production. Here we are, third level. This is the third level that we've come to. This is the boss level. Now, you can see that time that I played, you can feel the first half of that is restrained, so constrained, caged, and then afterwards, man, boom, it's like a full power explosion. It's like raging against rage against the machine, rage against the cage, you know, like it's restrained, it's caged, it's limited, but it's not powerless. There's a lot of power there that he just showed us. And now we are at the boss level. I know I pause it a lot here, but hey, this is Thorpe Talks, not Thorpe Listens. So just deal with it. Plus, in the description is the link to this very song. So, if you're already tired of my interruptions, go and check it out there for the full version. And please, save it. Listen to it. These guys are amazing. Here we go. Was that their dad? Okay. You can see Polyphia featuring Steve Vai. Now, I want to show you who this guy is right now. My uncle first introduced him to me, my Uncle Peter. He's a great musician. And he gave me a DVD of Steve Vai called Visual Sound Theories. And I thought, wow, this is going to be some wild kind of animation or kind of light show, a light show about, like, with crazy music behind it. And it wasn't that at all. It was a concert show. And I thought, what's visual about this? What's the visual sound theories about this? And something quite special about old Steve Vai there. I'll show you. Okay. This is Steve Vai Visual Sound Theories full concert. There's like 2 drum kits here and 10 violins, trumpets, tubas, a full orchestra, and Steve Vai and a conductor. So this is a crazy show. But I'm just going to show you what Steve Vai does and what is the visual sound theories. You can see the sounds that he makes on his face. Clear as day. Check it out. Somebody needs to make a meme of this. Great. So let's go back. So, how is this old man gonna do with these cool, hip youngsters? of my favorite songs. One of my favorite songs. I know it breaks my heart to have to pause it and interrupt these guys. So please, after this, watch the whole thing through nice and smooth, okay? Now to the point, I promise a message of the song called Ego Death. I spoke greatly about the middle section of the song with that restrained guitar solo, caged, being caged, all right? There are all sorts of ways that people can be limited or restricted. And a classic example from fairy tales that I grew up with, a common thing is for a princess to be locked in a tower. If you've seen Shrek, cool, you're with me. The princess is locked in a tower. Someone else has to go and like get them out. Right. Well, you might feel like your home is a cage. That can be the case. Like you can't just do whatever you want. Um, People's jobs or people's works can feel like a cage. Maybe school can feel like a cage to people. There are so many different ways for, that cage feeling. If you think about you being caged, you might think of any number of things. Okay. My message that I take from this, and my message to give, given that this is about ego death, there is nothing more limiting, no cage more difficult to escape than the cage of your own mind. For me, that is what this song is about. Doubt is like a cage. Like a lack of self-esteem or a lack of confidence, that can leave you feeling quite trapped in a lot of circumstances. It's a reality for a lot of people. I remember in a class once of 30 students, I asked, what would you like to get out of school? Different answers came up. One girl said, I want to have more confidence. And then I asked everybody else, put your hand up if you would like more confidence. Everybody raised their hand up, except for one girl. And I said, you're good? You're confident enough? She said, yeah, I think so. Okay, great. But that was one person out of 25 or something like that. So, yeah, especially young people need confidence. We want to build confidence. People telling you you can't do something, that's putting up a little bit of cage. Pink Floyd had the song, We Don't Need No Education. All in all, you're just another brick in the wall. Yeah, anyone that tells you you can't do something, right? That's like putting up a brick, putting another cage on your mind. The reality is, it doesn't matter what people tell you. They're not you. And you can prove them wrong. You can just do that. You don't have to take what other people say. Now, when people tell you, you can't murder and you can't steal, listen to that. That's fine. That's something else. Don't be thinking of all different ways to argue. Just take the point that what other people think you can or can't do, right? And often people will tell you you can't do stuff because they believe you can't do it, They don't want you to be disappointed. Trying to protect you, la la la. Yep, some of that, I don't know, some of it can be appropriate. But in general, I don't think it's appropriate to tell people what they can and can't do, because how can you know that? You're not that person. All you should be telling people is that takes a lot of work to do that. Just know that. You can absolutely try, but it takes a lot of work. But to say you can't do this, fuck, I do not like that. And the problem works like this. Okay. When training an elephant for the circus, analogy, when training an elephant for a circus, right? The elephant would be a baby, and the circus people put a rope around its neck and put the rope to around a stake and put it into the ground. So the baby elephant literally is too weak to pull out the pig. So it's trapped there. Literally trapped. But the elephants in the circus are not babies, they're big. That's the whole point. They're big, impressive beasts. They tie them up the same way. They put the rope around their head and tie it to the peg. The elephant is big enough and strong enough to free itself. That is not big enough to cage the elephant. But it doesn't matter. The elephant is caged in its mind. The elephant believes that it cannot go anywhere. Right? Why would anybody want that for you? Why should anybody want you to be stuck in like a cage? People should want you to be the most useful, best version of yourself. Should. But it doesn't always happen like that. You will have plenty of people telling you, you can't do this. But it's not about you. It's about them. They can't do it. And they don't want you to do it. Otherwise, why couldn't they? Why couldn't they? Then they'll have to think, oh, so actually I can do it, but I just don't. Please, you have to listen to this song again, or at least this part here. Steve Vai is the cherry on the cake. Oh my God. And yes, so I've spoken about the cage, right? To come full circle, okay, middle section of the song you have the cage, and then this guy, Steve Vai, he busts out in pure, blissful freedom. His music is floating on the wings of birds, soaring into the sky, right? This is what you have thematically in the video as well. Freedom, okay? Before, on that industrial scale inside that like warehouse building that was empty inside, that's contained. The finale of this song is about freedom. You introduce the idea of the cage to emphasize and to focus on the message of freedom. Okay? It's beautiful. You just have to listen to it, and you can feel free from listening to him. And look at his facial expression as he smiles when he does it. Honestly, it didn't happen for me this time because being on the camera, I can feel a little bit observed. But when I listen to this by myself, headphones, just listening to it, I get chills every time. It's so good. That is the face of freedom. The beauty of the world and freedom. Goodness me. I think we're almost done here. Am I missing something? Right, you've got your message, okay, like ego death, the cage of your mind. When you believe you can't do something, that's your biggest problem. That's your biggest problem. Nothing will limit you more than that. You don't want to blame other people. You don't want to blame other people for that. It's your mind. It's your life. Take it into your hands. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I guess this video is called How to Hear, and we did listen, and it was listening not just for words, but listening to feel something that blows my mind. Mozart or Beethoven. You'll have to fact check me on this. I don't know which. I think it's Mozart, but one of these most famous composers, right? Super famous composers of music, like Shakespeare, but for music. One of them went deaf near the end of their life. Deaf. Can you imagine that? A musician being deaf, right? If you are blind, you can play a piano, you can write, you can sing, but going deaf, okay. I hate the thought of going deaf because of how much joy I get from music. So I would struggle having to deal with that reality if I were to become deaf. It happens to a lot of people in old age, and so technology is great. The craziest thing about it is they continued composing music. They continued writing music, okay? So even then, music is something that we hear with our ears, but something that we feel in our hearts. Aww. Nice, nice. Okay, thank you very much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed that song. I hope it was something new for you. I almost forgot. I can't forget. Haha, I almost forgot. I'm now going to leave you with something truly cool. It's just so cool. Remember how I showed you this song? Yeah, so this is a cover played on the traditional Chinese instrument, the guzheng. I will have links in the description to all the videos that you've seen throughout this presentation. And yeah, music, a universal language. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned. We'll have some more content coming out shortly. Don't forget to like, subscribe. If it wasn't for you, maybe you know someone who's interested. Please share around. Take care and stay safe. Bye bye.